All right. Hi, guys. All right. Today is Friday, the 22nd. And today, let's see, let's go down here to math. We started off with some multi step division problems in Go Math. And we continued off, our page that we did was on 403. And we continued off with some problems that were multi step. And so we did a lot of practice with just really breaking down all this week, just really breaking down these problems to make sure that we understand them before we just jump in and try to start doing some random things with, the different numbers. And so, actually, I don't think it was four. I think it was 404. So here, if you go to Seesaw, you have a week 20 math, and it looks like this. Open up my copy here. All right, so today's turn-in day. So everything that we've been working on, this has been whole group and independent work all together. So these pages where the kids were supposed to either upload something or solve something, that needs to be all filled out. So page one, two, three, four, five, six. Let's see, eight. 9, 11. All right, so here, this is where we started for their independent work. And so this was one of the ones that we went over in class today. So I'm going to model this one right here, number 5. So it says Anna has 5 bunches of flowers with 12 flowers in each bunch. She has 4 bunches of flowers with 10 flowers in each bunch. How many vases can Anna fill if she puts 10 flowers in a vase or in each vase? And so that had one, two, three, four, 5 different numbers in this problem. And so it's not, last year when you guys were in 3rd grade, you could see, "Oh, okay, I'm finding the total. Let me just take the 2 numbers and add them." Or, "Oh, it wants me to see how much more, and let me take the 2 numbers and subtract them." You can't do that anymore. You can't just grab these numbers and look for a keyword and expect to get the correct answer. You have to use those reading skills and really comprehend what's going on. You really have to break it down sentence by sentence until you understand what the story's about. Then we can go and we can start doing all the math. These numbers are super small. It's not a like insanely complicated problem. It just has a lot of steps. That's why it's a multi-step. So the real skill here is not, can you multiply these small numbers that you should be able to do in your head? It's that, can you follow and do you understand the story enough to follow through these steps to get to that answer there? So I really try, when I'm solving these, I really try to model, like how I visualize this. So when it says Anna has 5 bunches of flowers with 12 flowers in each bunch, I'm thinking like a little girl outside picking flowers, and she's got all these flowers, and she has, a bunch of them together, kind of like, she's bunched them all up, and inside one bunch there's 12 flowers. Well, she's got 5 of those. And so if I were to draw that out about, what that would look like, then I would have something like, here, I'm going to use this whole bottom part. So I would have a rectangle here. It's split up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in every single one of these, there are 12 flowers. So every single one of these groups, this is a bunch, this is a bunch, this is a bunch, and inside of the bunch, there's 12 to represent those 12 flowers in each bunch. Then it says she has 4 bunches of flowers. So I'm going to draw 4 bunches of flowers. Those are my groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it says there's 10 flowers in each. So in every single one of these boxes, there's 10. How many vases can Anna fill if she puts 10 flowers in each vase? Well, there's a hidden question in here. You can go and you can start pulling out all these groups of 10 from, there's a 10 in here, there's a 10 in here because each one of these has 12. But it's much easier if you go and you find your total first. And then I know that I'm pulling out groups because I'm taking all those flowers. So in my head, I'm picturing like all these different groups of flowers, all these little bunches, like little bouquets of flowers. I'm picturing in my head with them all over a table or something. And I'm picturing, like when I used to bring my mom, I'd go out and I'd pick flowers, and my mom would say, like, "Oh, let's put these in a vase, and they're so pretty, and let's put some water and put them in a vase so they'll, stay alive for longer, or not alive, but stay, fresh for longer." And so I'm picturing that in my head, and I'm visualizing, and I'm connecting this. I'm making this story come to life, and that helps me to understand what these, they're not just numbers; they're the numbers of flowers. So really, just connecting the numbers to the story. And so here, when you're doing this, it's much easier if you go and you find the total. So here, if every single one of these boxes is 12, this is 12 times 5, and 12 times 5 is 60. All right, and then each one of these is 10. 10 times 4 is 40. So if I take this group, these groups here, and these groups here, and I take these two numbers here and add them up, I get 100. So um, 60 plus 40 is 100. And if you notice, one of your answer choices is actually 100. And so please do not make the mistake of doing one of the steps and getting an answer and saying, "Oh, that's the answer to my final question." No, it's not the answer to your final question. It's the answer to how many total flowers she has. But it's not asking me how many total flowers she has. It says how many vases can Anna fill if she puts 10 flowers in each vase. So here I'm taking this 100 and I'm saying, okay, I've got a total of 100 flowers. If I take out 10, so I'm going to pull out groups of 10. I'm going to say, okay, here's 10. That's one vase. Okay, I still have 90 left, so I can keep going. Here's another 10. I can now make 2 vases. I've got 80 left now. So I can keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going till I don't have any more groups of 10 left. So what that means is I'm doing 100 divided by 10, which equals 10. Because if you count 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, there are 10 groups of 10 in 100. You can also think about it as 10 times 10 is 100. So your answer there should be B. All right, so you guys had that page today, and page 12 and 13. So there were 6 problems total. We just did one, so 5 problems. But these aren't, like I said, they're not. They're little small numbers, but the real skill here that I think that you're practicing is just making sense of going from one step to the next to the next to the next. They're not trying to make the numbers, in the hundreds and the thousands, and just they're not trying to make it overly complicated. They're giving you smaller numbers to practice, just, like I said, going through a word problem and really paying attention to those details and really paying attention to the story. Okay. All right. So now let's see. Let me just turn this in. All right. So make sure that gets all complete and make sure that gets turned in, please. And then when you go down in the agenda, let's see. So you're entering your answers. eSpark here. Please, please, please make sure you're getting on eSpark. eSpark is right here under small groups. Please make sure you just click the link, you sign in with your Google, and you'll be all set. 15 minutes a day for math, 15 for reading, and that will be really good. It meets you right where you are. So if you're struggling with, maybe something that you didn't learn last year, or maybe you learned something, maybe when they were teaching something in second grade, like how to read a clock or something, maybe you were absent that day. We all have little gaps in our learning that need to be filled. And so programs like that, where they're adaptive and they really try to figure out, okay, what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and let's go tackle those weaknesses, you know? Miss Snyder's just teaching 4th grade math. I'm not going back to 1st grade and 2nd grade and teaching you things that you might have missed, way back when. 4th grade keeps me plenty busy. And so you really want to use programs like that and dedicate some time each day. And it really will benefit you in the long run, big time. All right. So you can they played Prodigy when they finished that, if they had some extra time there. All right. In reading today, we went to Seesaw, went to our activities. And all right, we were in the whole group lessons here. All right, so this we talked about Tuesday with theme, and then starting on um, Wednesday, we've been talking about, why authors write. What is their purpose? And we talked about how, there's lots of reasons authors write, but they can be broken down into 3 main categories. So persuade, inform, entertain. And here, um, we talked about the difference between what a topic is and author's purpose. And then we talked about today, we determined the topic and author's purpose of a text using evidence from the text. So we went and we looked at a couple articles. We went ahead this third article, just due to some short time. We went ahead and just took this one off, and we looked at the first 2. So I told students you can just delete this third page right here, and let's see, delete. And then we went to page 8, And we just put a big X on page 8 on that third box. So we just concentrated on these two. So again, today we're looking for evidence. So we're putting kind of all that we learned this week and putting it all together. So the topic of the three articles, or we should say the two articles. So if you look here right away, topic, like we said the other day, is really like you can just look at the titles. Grizzlies and black bears of North America. Hello there, bear. You've got images of bears. You have a map of the dwindling habitat of the grizzly bear. You have the habitat of the black bear. So it's bear, 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 bear. Every paragraph all about bears. So, topic, it's kind of right there in your face. You know, this is talking about bears because there's evidence all over within the text, within the text features, within the titles. So here it's all over. Author's purpose, we talked about how, with author's purpose, you have to read, you have to dig a little bit deeper. It's not going to be there right in your face. You got to dig for it. So here we read this one and we talked about how this is all about grizzlies and black bears of North America. And there are lots of things throughout here that give us some evidence that this is comparing and contrasting the grizzlies and the black bears. And so there's things in here when they say things like the word similar, and they give us, some similarities between the two. And then things like the word, but right here where it says these two bears are also built quite differently. So now it's going to talk to, their differences. And so keywords and that evidence and things like that led us. So we put the evidence down here, and then those key things led us to understanding that, the reason the author wrote this is because they wanted to compare those two bears. Then in Article 2, when we read Hello There, Bear, this one right here is talking about bears are just having lots more encounters with people than they have in the past. And so it talks about, all the reasons why, people are building into their habitats, they're getting curious, things like that. And so if you read each paragraph here, all of it's talking about like, okay, here's an example of this girl getting ambushed when she was on out for a jog. Talks about what several of the causes are that are triggering this to happen. So we got a lot of our evidence through reading that, and we wrote that here in the evidence. And then we said that the author wrote this, so both of them were to inform, but how this one was to write about um, comparing and contrasting the two. This one, the purpose was more to inform us about these increasing encounters that people are having. All right, so that needs to be turned in when that is done. And again, make sure there were little things throughout. Make sure everything got completed. If you are absent, please keep watching the videos. All right, after that, we went to writing. And in writing, we had a quizzes on prepositions. So if you go to Google Classroom, there is a preposition quiz here. I still have some people that need to take that. And then if you, all right, so then we finished up our conclusion and finalized working on our paper. And so that is under week 20 writing right here. And so the whole first part of this was the prepositions. And then this whole last part is all about our writing composition we've been working on. The big message this week was, with these body paragraphs, we use we use a hamburger to kind of, model and talk about the similarities. Like the bun is the introduction, the meat and the cheese, and all the good stuff in the middle is the body of our paragraphs, and the bottom bun is like the conclusion. And so we have these different, references and things like that. And if you think about that hamburger, that meat and that cheese and the lettuce and the tomatoes, all of that's found in the middle. You don't go to a burger restaurant and say, oh, I only want the top and the bottom bun. Leave all the middle stuff, leave it off. Like, no, that's the good stuff. Like that's why, that's what you eat a hamburger for, is all that good stuff in the middle. So same thing. Your introduction is introducing, your conclusion is concluding. The middle, that's where the good stuff is. And so we really want to make sure when we're writing our papers that we really work hard on that middle part to fully explain what it is we're talking about. So, right here, think about someone who has made a world a better place. We've done a really good job. Like this right here, I gave it a green check. I think we're right on target. Like I think we got it down. We have been practicing and practicing and practicing, and it shows. So awesome job. Keep up the good work on that. Here, we need a little confetti throw here. All right, so awesome job on central idea. We're sharing who our person is. Next, explaining why you think that person is important. That's that part that we really focused on this week. So we started off Tuesday with gathering some facts. And so we chose a person. And then, we already know quite like the reason we chose who we chose was because we already have some information that we already know about that person. So we wrote that up here. Then we added some things down here that we learned when we did a little bit of research. Then we went down here and we took our topic sentence. So, one reason he's important is because he does blank. And then we kept growing that and really trying to strengthen that. And so, all of these paragraphs, we did the same thing with our second reason. And we just started, piece by piece, building this together. Well, if you go here to page 13, 13 here is that final written out piece. So notice there's no labels. It doesn't say introduction. It doesn't say the end. It doesn't say, body or conclusion or anything. It's just written out. And then let's talk about, and then I'll erase these lines. So let's talk about what these lines, these colored lines mean. So this is just one way that you can conclude a paper. There's many, but I think this is pretty sufficient and well explained. So I like this. So first, you start off with a transitional phrase. So something that lets the reader kind of gives them that signal that, hey, I'm wrapping it up. So as you can see, comma. So that right there in red, that's my transitional phrase. There are lots of reasons why Martin Luther King Jr. made the world a better place. This yellow part right here tells me how I feel about the topic. The topic is Martin Luther King, this person that's made the world a better place. My feelings are that yes, he has made the world a better place. In purple here, you repeat the main ideas of the subtopics. When I say that he fought for civil rights, and when I say in this paragraph that he set a good example that we can make change peacefully, those were things that those were my main ideas of why I think he's important. So I just sum them up. I don't go and write two more, exact I already said everything I wanted to say up here. It's just kind of a quick little summary. He fought for civil rights and set an example that we can be heard by protesting peacefully. Okay, so that right there just quickly summed up what I wrote above. Then you end it with a wish. I said, he will always be important to me and many others. My wish is that others will continue to speak out and act peacefully because there is still a lot of change that needs to take place. So, again, you put your introduction, you put your first reason that person is important, another reason why that person is important, and your conclusion. So, all together, there are so many people throughout history that have changed our world and made it a better place. Martin Luther King Jr. is one of those people. Let me explain why he is so important to me. One reason he is important to me is because he fought for civil rights. At a very young age, he noticed that blacks and whites weren't treated equally. This made him angry, and he wanted things to change. As he got older, he started making speeches, and people listened to him speak about peaceful protests. He was arrested nearly 30 times during his life, but he always continued to fight for what was right. Another reason Martin Luther King Jr. is important to me is because he sets a good example that we can make change peacefully. In his speeches, he spoke against violence and harm to others. Even as protesters were attacked by dogs, tear gassed, and sprayed with hoses, he still continued to lead by example. This has taught me that I can still make my voice heard without harming others. These actions earned him the title as the youngest recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964 when he was only 35 years old. As you can see, there are a lot of reasons why Martin Luther King Jr. made the world a better place. He fought for civil rights and set an example that we can be heard by protesting peacefully. He will always be important to me and many others. My wish is that others will continue to speak out and act peacefully because there is still a lot of change that needs to take place. All right, so my job was to give you that person who has made the world a better place, and my job was to explain why that person is important to me. I know that's my job because it says it here in page 6. Everything comes from right here. Write about someone who has made the world a better place. Check, I have that. Explain why you think that person is important. Check, I did that. Before you say, I'm done, you need to go back to the prompt and you need to make sure that you did those things. Okay? You need to make sure that you did all of these things. Be sure to do this. State your central idea. Did you tell the person or did you tell your reader who your person is? Did you organize your writing? Do you have that introduction, body, conclusion, that beginning where you're introducing, that middle where you're explaining, and that conclusion that is wrapping up that paper? Did you organize? Are your ideas just all over the place? Okay. Did you develop your ideas in detail? This was in red because last week I didn't see it. I saw a couple of you do it, a few of you, a good little handful, but overall, we are not. We have paragraphs. We have a reason, that one reason, and it's one sentence. That's not giving any details. That's just making a statement and moving on to the next statement. Okay? So that's what our big job was this week, was to really develop those ideas. So did you say something and then you explained it? Or did you just say something and you went and moved on to the very next topic? Okay? It's very, very different. Did you choose your words carefully? Did you use all the correct spelling, capitalization, punctuation, grammar, and sentences, all that? Okay. Now, going back to these choosing your words carefully, choosing your words. Okay. I went and I did research and I learned things about him, but I didn't put those things. When I was writing, I didn't copy someone else's writing. That's their writing. This is my writing. It says the teacher's example. That's me. If you are reading your paper and you cannot pronounce the words and you don't know what the words mean, you didn't put them in your own, like, you just copied someone else's stuff. That's called plagiarism. That is not allowed. If you do research, if I go to Epic and I read a book about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and I get all this information from him, well, I have to, that's fine. That's good. That's why the author probably wrote that book. They wanted to share information. but they don't want you to go and write exactly what they wrote the same exact way, word for word, where it looks like you just copied and pasted right into your paper and you put your name on it and you said, okay, where's my sticker? I did such a good job. Okay. So when you write, it needs to be from you. This is about an important person in in our lives. That's someone that's important to us. It should come from your heart. So when you're explaining, really dig deep. Why? Think about it. Why is this person important to me? Take what you learned and then write about it. Okay. The more personal you can make it, those connections, like why this is important for you, the better, the better your paper is going to be. So you guys were writing here on page 14. That's where yours goes. It should look at the end of it, it should look just like this. No, like I said, no titles, no extras, just a paper. All right, so turn that in when you're done. And then I wanted you to go and share so your classmates can hear all your great work. So if you go over here to the Flipgrid, and I can't log in like you guys, I have to do a little bit different way. So let me log in my way so I can show you. Make sure you click the Google login. Mhm. All right, so 16 people so far have gone and have recorded their paper. You can go and you can leave comments, and I love when people go in and you know give people some good praise and really are talking back and forth about things that they really liked. And, if you have a suggestion, as long as you're not like, oh my gosh, why didn't you do this? Like, hello, Miss Snyder said this 50 times. Like, don't be like that. But at the same time, hey, I think it would be really cool if you added this to your paper. Like, we're all here to learn and grow from each other. So if you're sharing, ideas and that, that would be great. So go in. These keep changing because more people are viewing them and more people are leaving comments and things like that. So make sure you go and get a chance to look at those things because there's some really good um, growth that I've seen, and I've made it about halfway through. I'm still listening to them, but I've been excited to be able to hear you guys to read those. All right, so the Flipgrid link is right here. You click on week 19, week 20, and you can turn that in once you've done that to get that grade out. All right, after that, where am I? Agenda. All right, so, and don't forget about the prepositions on that quizzes. All right, for science today, we made our foil models, and with this, we were really just, it's kind of hard to do because I'm not in the classroom anymore, but let me bring up, let's see. All right, so what we talked about is um, we made a model. So let's just say we took foil and it was kind of like modeling clay where we molded it, but it's obviously not the same as clay. But you can fold it and you can kind of scrunch it up. And we made a model. So here's mine. Let's say this is my little model. And mine was actually, I don't even know what mine was. It looked like a two-headed reindeer. I don't know what I made. But anyways, we made something. And so let's see, here's the Earth here. And we used a flashlight to represent the sun. And so let's say that this is east, and over here is west. We used that flashlight and we said, okay, here's our sun in the morning. And when the sun is low in the sky, when it's first rising, you get a very long shadow. Okay, so it's pretty long. When the sun is low, your shadow is long. And that has to do with when the sun is coming at you here, all these sun rays are coming, they're hitting your body. Quite a bit of your body is blocking that light. That light can't go through you, so it creates that shadow. Is this area here where your body didn't allow the light to go through? Then, as the day goes on, the sun appears to be in different positions. And so, around, let's say, 10 o'clock or so, sun's appearing to be higher in the sky, and those sun rays are hitting you at a different angle. And so it's not hitting as much or not as much of your body is blocking because of the different angle the sun is at. So whenever the shadow's created, your shadow is smaller than it was when the sun was first rising. So with our flashlights, we were moving it around in this direction here. And then in the afternoon, around 12, so here's at noon. So right around lunchtime, right around right around the time we're coming back from lunch and recess, you've got the sun. If you were to go outside and look up, the sun would be directly overhead. And the sun, if you look at the angle now, it's hitting the top of your head here. So this is going to be the time when you have the shortest shadow. It's going to be right here at your feet. And so when we were holding the flashlights above our models, you could really see when you went from this position and you started moving your flashlight around, and now your flashlight's at this position. It just kept getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. So we really got to see how when that sun is in a lower position in the sky, how it creates such a much longer shadow versus when it's up higher in the sky, especially at its highest point, that shadow is its shortest length. So it's kind of opposite. If it's up high, you get a short shadow. If it's down low, you get a long shadow. So that continues to go. And now when the sun is over here, it's opposite. Your shadow starts going in the opposite direction, because if you think about it, now the sunlight is hitting you on this side. So that shadow is going to start forming over here. And it's going to be about the same as this. Okay, ignore my horrible drawings here. Your shadow is going to be about the same, since it's, opposite of this one here. This one here should be similar. It's just on the other side. Then continues, and it's nighttime. Our sun starts to set in the west over here. And again, the sun is appearing to be low in the sky. Low in the sky means we're going to get a long shadow. Okay, it should be similar to what you saw in the morning, just on the opposite side. So those sun rays, again, they are coming from this direction now. Your body is blocking it. It's hitting quite a bit of your body, and you get this long shadow created. So this is what it looks like. This is what we did. Our sun, we just used the flashlight. So as the flashlight was shining on our foil model, we had these shadows. Oh, and we also used a white piece of paper to really be able to see where those shadows were formed. It was easy to see on the white paper, and you can even it's fun to trace it at different positions and see how it moves and stuff like that. So that was fun to do in science today. So I hope you didn't miss it. All right. And then that took up the whole time. And then for social studies, since there was Monday assigned, we were just a day behind. So we went ahead and took off the Friday, and we did Thursday's page today. And then please make sure that you go to your activities, and with your social studies week 20 in your seesaw, please make sure your flag, we talked earlier this week, um, was it a day, I don't know, a day, I don't think it was yesterday, 2 days ago maybe it was. Anyways, we talked about the six flags that have flown over Texas, and so we talked about all those different Oh, all those different ones, and then, students created their own flag and thought about, some things that, if they were gonna create a flag for our state or our country, what are some important things that they would include? And so um, I asked them to, whatever if they put a certain symbol or something like that, I wanted them to explain why they put that in their flag. So please make sure that's done. And then, okay, so on here, things that need to be done. If you have the water cycle and weather assessment in your seesaw, it's only assigned to some people. I need you to make corrections. Social studies, I just talked about that. Writing is done. Week 20 reading whole group lessons are done. This here was the independent reading assignment. So you either had Wizard of Oz assigned to you, or you had the Gossip Monster assigned to you. And there were activities throughout it for each group. Make sure you follow each page. Make sure you record yourself reading, and that you are doing the reading practice throughout the week. Your week 20 math and independent, whole group and independent, that is done. So all of these things should be turned in. There shouldn't be, I can't think of anything that should be sitting that we haven't finished. When you click on activities, there should be none. Same thing with Google Classroom. When you go to week 20, there's nothing besides Fun Friday, but there's nothing in here that should be green. Okay. So make sure, and I don't think this shows up green on yours since it's a different category. But, anyways, all of this should be green, or I mean, grayed out. Then I want you to go to the bottom. I want you to go back to week 18. Everything in here, this week 18, should be grayed out. Then I want you to go to week 19. Everything in week 19 should be grayed out. There should be nothing that is green like mine. Then I want you to go all the way to the top, and mine's a little different, but on yours, right here, it says view your work. Progress reports come out. It's already been 3 weeks. And so some of you have lots of things missing. That's unacceptable. Some of you have grades that need to be corrected. You got to get that corrected, or guess what? That low grade goes in. And right now, there's only a few grades because it's only been 3 weeks. So each one of those counts for quite a bit. So please make sure you're staying on top of that, checking your stuff, and doing what you need to do to get all of that in. All right, guys. So I hope you had a good week. Hope you learned lots of fun new things. Once you finish all your stuff, go check out the Fun Friday. When you click on this, there's all kinds of different live cams from some fun zoos around the country and go check out all the animals and see what they're up to. All right, have a safe weekend. I will see you guys on Monday. Bye.